Rorschach Media.
Welcome to the very first episode of Are You Game? For Rorschach Media, I am the Sonicfanatik. Today I'd like to talk about one of the most unique games ever made in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Unique being that it's gotten mixed reviews from the fans. Fans either like the game because it combines two things most people enjoy, Sonic and pinball, or they hate the game entirely because of its difficulty. To me, it's a great game and well worth a play, and I will explain why. So sit back and relax as I bring you the first episode of Are You Game? Sonic Spinball. Sonic Spinball was released for the Sega Genesis in November of 1993, and on the Sega Game Gear 10 months later in September of 1994. This review is going to cover the Sega Genesis version. Now, an interesting fact about this game, this is the very first Sonic game ever to be made by Sega Technical Institute in California, not in Japan. So, without further ado, let's go into the plot. The plot is that Dr. Robotnik is capturing little animals and turning them into robots.
What? Again?
Yes, Eddie, again. Anyway, he has sent his robot minions to work in his new monstrous fortress, the Mega Fortress, which draws its power from the volcano of Mount Mobius. The fortress contains a pinball defense system that's fueled by the volcano's lava, and the lava is kept under control by the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Realizing this, Sonic and Tails attempt to launch an attack on the fortress. Unfortunately, things don't go as planned, as Robotnik shoots a laser at the duo, damaging their plane. Sonic's knocked off the plane and falls into the water. He's rescued by some friends and taken to the toxic caves, which is where the game begins. Now, as you begin the game, you'll notice that it kinda looks like any standardized Sonic game. But wait, what is this? It's different! The game functions a lot like a pinball machine, with Sonic as the pinball. Now, in any generalized pinball game, you'll remember that there are certain buttons and switches that you'll need to hit in order to obtain a high score. This game is no exception. The goal of each level is to collect all of the Chaos Emeralds in the stage in order to open the boss room at the top. There are 3 Chaos Emeralds in each of the first 2 stages, and 5 in the final 2 stages, for a grand total of 16 Chaos Emeralds. Now, I don't know what Sega was thinking here by going with 16, because I had thought with the game Sonic 2 that there were 7 Chaos Emeralds. That plot hole aside, once you collect all the Chaos Emeralds in the stage, the boss room of the stage is open. So basically, the game has a puzzle element to it, which is very unusual for a Sonic game, because Sonic games are usually built around speed and beating a stage straight out by going left to right. This game doesn't have any of that because you'll need to complete certain objectives to progress through the stage. Let's take the first stage for example, the Toxic Caves. To obtain the first Chaos Emerald, you'll need to drain the slime chamber that it's in. To do that, you need to hit the buttons on either side of the slime chamber. Afterwards, the slime chamber drains and the tubes below open. You can then shoot into the tubes, gain access to the upper levels, and catch a ride in a barrel. Then paddle over to the slime chamber, jump inside, and get the Chaos Emerald. So generally, that's the idea behind collecting the emeralds in this game. Next, I'll move on to the boss fights. Like I said earlier, once you collect all the Chaos Emeralds in the stage, the boss room opens. The objective, obviously, is to defeat the boss in order to go to the next stage. The boss for the Toxic Caves that you're seeing right now, Scorpius, can be defeated by first jumping in the space between his head and his tail. Once the tail has been destroyed, just bounce off his head 5 times in order to destroy him. After each stage, with the exception of the final stage, you're sent to a bonus stage, which is basically Sonic playing a pinball machine. The puzzle element of the game follows into the bonus stages as well. In this first special stage, Trapped Alive, you have to destroy the capsules in the back. Surprisingly, those capsules contain Sonic's friends from the Sonic SatAM series. Rotor Walrus, Bunny Rabbit, Antoine de Colette, and Princess Sally Acorn. Other characters in this bonus stage include Tails, a Flicky Bird, and for some reason, a monkey. Yeah. Anyway, once you destroy the capsules, aim for Eggman and his hovercraft. After a few hits, his hovercraft will blow up and you'll go on to the next main stage. So basically, that's the general idea behind the gameplay of Sonic Spinball. Get the Chaos Emeralds through puzzle elements and progress through the stages. Now, I am a person who likes this game. However, if there was one thing I found unappealing about this game, it would be the graphics. The graphics of Sonic Spinball are some of the worst graphics I've ever seen for the Sega Genesis. The backgrounds look terrible, the sprites for Sonic and all the enemies are so poorly done. However, as bad as everything looks, you don't pay too much attention to the details. Now I'll move on to the controls. The controls for this game are okay. Well, they're not great, they have some issues, but there aren't major issues. The flippers respond okay, that's not the problem. The problem is moving Sonic in midair. You see, unlike in a general pinball game, this game gives you the power to control where Sonic is going in midair. However, the game really makes it difficult to move. It kind of feels like Sonic is made of lead, so if you want him to move, you really have to push him to move just a little bit. You really have to feel the controls to know what I'm talking about.